discover more about the nature of reality and help create a better life for yourself and the rest of the planet. My name is Nikki Palmer, and I've created a process called Draw Your Reality. For more information, you can go to my website, nikkipalmer.com, and receive a free gift that I put together just for you.
We've got a situation now where Trump has announced that the US is withdrawing troops from Syria. But there was an article by Stephen Lenman on the site this week, which was headlined, US withdrawing forces from Syria hold the cheers. We're still kind of waiting to see what the bottom line is about all this. Whether it's part of a plan that seems to be doing one thing but then turns out to be doing something different, or whether it is actually Trump reigning against this control around him from these neocons and John Bolton and such like, that are pushing him in a direction that he doesn't want to go. We'll see how that turns out, but John Lenman's articles are excellent in terms of pointing out that, hold on a minute, this is not what it appears to be. And there's we've of course had the resignation of Mattis, the defense secretary, Mad Dog, which basically is in protest at pulling out of Syria, troops out of Syria, and also talk now of of Trump wanting to withdraw from Afghanistan in a large way. But I read another story this week, which was basically about let's bring it up here. We are coming. Chilling Blackwater ad triggers fears of Trump seeking to privatize Mid-East wars. Now, many people remember Blackwater. Basically, it's a mercenary army which is used by the American military and intelligence community to do its bidding while being one step away and having plausible denial that it was involved in what Blackwater was doing. And Blackwater's been exposed for doing many, many horrible things, not least killing people who were absolutely innocent. Anyway, what this story is about is, well, hold on a minute. It could be that they're withdrawing official American troops while replacing them with Blackwater mercenaries to do basically the same thing. Anyway, this is the story. Blackwater, the controversial US private security firm, has flagged up its intent to resume business, taking out a full-page commercial in the latest edition of Recoil magazine with a chilling message declaring, "We are coming." The resurrection between or within the military contractors market of notorious Blackwater, which after numerous scandals and several rebrandings, they keep changing the bloody name to hide its connection to Blackwater, which of course is tainted by all the scandals, and is now known as Academy, has analysts looking deeper into US intent to withdraw from the war in the Middle East. The advertisement in Recall, made public after Defense Secretary Jim Mattis announced his resignation, prompted concerns that President Donald Trump might be seeking to privatize ongoing American engagements in Afghanistan and Syria, following the declared troops withdrawal from the region. The main supporter of the idea of privatizing the US fighting in the Middle East has been Eric Prince, a former head of Blackwater. The longtime Republican sold the company in 2010, but has maintained communications with Trump, reportedly trying to lobby his inner circle to replace the US military presence in the region with mercenaries. Mattis, who served in the Persian Gulf War, Afghanistan and Iraq, firmly rejected the idea. With Mattis now gone, it is conceivable that Trump may now reevaluate Prince's proposals. Michael Maloof, a former Pentagon security analyst, said, whether or not outsourcing US wars to a private contractor will have any positive effect on the ground remains to be seen. And that's not the point, of course. Maloof explained, stressing that a 3 private military contractors for 1 soldier ratio currently set up in Syria and Afghanistan has failed to achieve much. Eric Prince is very close to Trump, the analyst pointed out, but he would have to bring very traumatic force, and it's going to cost money, and Eric Prince is getting paid by the US government. The prospects of Blackwater's return to the mercenary market has distressed those few among the American public who remember the notorious murder of 14 Iraqi civilians by the company's guards in 2007 in Baghdad. I don't think the American public would stand for a company that has committed so many crimes in the past. Political activist Medea Benjamin said, Eric Prince and mercenaries make money by continuing wars, not ending them. But that's not the point. If you come from the point of view that they want to put these private armies in to bring a war to an end, well, forget it. That's not the idea. It's to bring about the end that they want, which is not the same thing. And the other thing about the resignation of Mattis, of course, is who takes his place. And I hope it's not either of the two that are being talked about at the moment. Fingers crossed, as they say. Headline, both leading candidates to replace Mattis are maximum war hawks. On Thursday, President Trump announced via Twitter that Secretary of Defense James Mad Dog Mattis would be retiring in February and that a replacement for Mattis would soon be named. Mattis's departure has been the subject of speculation since late June. Mattis has gone early, by the way, and they've brought a temporary guy in since this story was published. Mattis' departure has been the subject of speculation since late June, when it was reported that Mattis was already being kept out of the loop on major administration decisions, such as the unilateral withdrawal from the nuclear deal with Iran, which Mattis had supported keeping intact. Rumors of Mattis' exit as the Pentagon's top official were then revived in September, when it was reported that Trump was actively discussing his replacement. Another sip of tea required. Lukewarm now. And what I talked about this, I seem to remember in the last subscribers videocast, about the neoconization more and more of the Trump administration. And while Mattis is a mad dog, in the sense of, you look where he got his reputation from in Fallujah in Iraq, and where he got his nickname Mad Dog, and the guy's seriously not all there. But he's not all there enough, or he's not crazy enough for the neocons, who are completely insane, people like John Bolton, and so they are neoconizing more and more. And I hope that Trump will see this. I'm not holding my breath, and put someone in there who is not neocon. But the two being talked about as Mattis's replacement have talked about two people who, let me find the story here and get the details of them. One is called Cotton, and Cotton is an absolute 100% frontman for Israel. Here's his background. Tom Cotton, in his relatively short time as a senator, has gained a reputation for being extraordinarily hawkish, particularly regarding Iran. Well, he would be, because he's owned by Israel. A longtime critic of the Iran nuclear deal, Cotton was one of the authors of a controversial letter to Iran during negotiations that was described by the Baltimore Sun as telling Tehran to prepare for war because the agreement could be nullified by the subsequent president. Since then, Cotton has repeatedly called for the unilateral bombing of Iran, which he insisted would take only several days and would not lead to a wider war. Well, the man's an idiot, of course. But anyway, if Tom Cotton gets in, that we have big problems. Just flagging him up. Cotton is also markedly pro-Israel. My God, are you kidding? And received over $700,000 from the Emergency Committee for Israel in 2014, and nearly $1 million from that same group a year later. That same year, during the Israeli invasion of Gaza, Cotton called the Israeli military the most moral humanitarian fighting force in the world, despite the numerous war crimes it was committing at the time. A year later, Cotton called on Congress to supply Israel with B-52s and bunker buster bombs to use against Iran. See what I mean? Regarding the Syria conflict, Cotton has been a vocal proponent of escalating for years and praised Trump's decision in April 2017 to bomb Syria as restoring our credibility in the world. And I say the guy was insane. I think I may have mentioned it. After Trump again bombed Syria this past April, Cotton released an official statement praising the attack, which read as follows. The butcher of Damascus, called President Assad, learned two lessons tonight the hard way. Weapons of mass destruction don't create a military advantage once the United States is done with you, and Russia can't protect its clients from the United States. This is another, we will that, who never sees a bullet fired in anger and will be under a bed by the time the second bugger went off anyway. President Trump ought to sustain the attacks if Assad doesn't learn these lessons, and Iran's Ayatollahs and Kim Jong-un might want to learn the easy way. We thank our old British and French friends for once again joining us in defending the civilized world. Yeah, you bomb people, you're civilized, you moron. Anyway, this is the guy, also very hawkish on Russia. He's called Vladimir Putin a committed adversary of the United States. He's accused Russia of meddling in presidential elections, violating arms control treaties with the United States, invading Ukraine, assassinating political opponents in the United Kingdom, made common cause with Iran, propagated Bashir's outlaw regime in Syria, and cheated not only the Olympics but even in the Paralympics. So he is a perfect frontman for Israel and the agenda of the neocons, and I'm sure they will want him in. Whether they can get him in is quite another thing. Now, the other one that's being talked about, the neocon darling Keane in pole position, question mark is the headline. Media reports have cited John Keane, sometimes referred to by his nickname Jack. I know his brother not. As Mattis' most likely replacement, which should concern anyone wary of the US military escalation in the Middle East. Keane, a frequent commentator on Fox News, has been described by former CIA analyst Ray McGovern as the go-to general for the neoconservatives, which is unsurprising given his close association with the influential neoconservative Kagan clan that includes Fred Kagan, Robert Kagan, and their wives Kimberly Kagan and Victoria Newland. Now, Robert Kagan, an ultra-Zionist, created the Project for the New American Century that set out the blueprint for all that's happened in the Middle East since 2000, with another ultra-Zionist called William Crystal. And his wife, Robert Kagan's wife, is Victoria Newland. She was the Undersecretary of State for Eurasian Affairs at the time of the coup in Ukraine, which she oversaw on behalf of the American government, the neocons, and Israel. And thus they are really a major center of this neocon hijacking of the Pentagon. And this close associate of this crowd, which have enormous numbers of dead people on their hands, is said to be at the moment in pole position to replace Mattis. Either way, whether it's Cotton or whether it's this guy, it will be a disaster for peace and a disaster for the Middle East and a disaster for America in terms of its people. But maybe this won't happen. Maybe someone else will come in who's not neocon. But like I say, I value my life too much to hold my breath waiting for that. But we can only hope. One of Keen's many connections to the Kagans is the document Choosing Victory, a Plan for Success in Iraq, which Keen co-authored with Frederick Kagan and used as the blueprint for the Bush administration failed 2007 troop surge in Iraq. In addition, Keen is current chairman of the Institute of the Study of War. I'm sure he's a very keen student, which was founded by Fred Kagan's wife, Kimberly, and was formerly chaired by Liz Cheney, daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney. As noted by Centurion News in 2012, the Institute for the Study of War is funded by major weapons manufacturers and military contractors such as General Dynamics, Northrop Grumman, and CACI, as well as lesser-known firms such as DynCorp International, which provides training for Afghan police and has been accused of child trafficking in Afghanistan and Kosovo, as well as enslaving American workers. And Palantir, guess who's behind that? Peter Thiel. When he's not drinking blood. Or having it infused. And Palantir, a technology company founded by, with the backing of the CIA's venture capital arm, InQtel, Palantir supplies software to US military intelligence in Afghanistan. This may explain why Keen is an enthusiastic supporter of the 17-year-old war in that country. Indeed, Keen's policy positions notably benefit many of the weapons makers and contractors that fund the group he chairs. A committed Iran hawk, Keen has championed the US withdrawal from the Iran deal and has called Iranians thugs and killers intent on acquiring nuclear weapons. He's also a strong supporter of the administration's current aggressive Iran policy, including regime change. So, again, you look at Keen, that is so connected to the neocons, and he wants everything that Israel wants. And you look at Cotton, who's so funded, never mind close to the Israelis, who want everything. He wants everything Israel wants. But you can't say Israel is involved in any way, shape, or form. That is absolutely outrageous. It is complete and utter anti-Semitism, and I'm not standing for it. Instead, I'll move on. Just another two quick Israel stories before we change the subject. UN adopts resolution in favor of Syria's sovereignty over occupied Golan Heights, because, of course, Israel is now making moves to permanently absorb the Golan Heights, which is legally Syria's. And the whole process of Israel taking over more and more of the occupied lands is becoming so utterly blatant, particularly since Trump came to power, because he's just given them the red light for everything, or the green light rather for everything. If he was given the red light, might have more support for him. Anyway, Israel approves new Jewish-only West Bank housing units. It's going on incessantly, building Jewish-only homes and settlements on Palestinian illegally occupied land. And basically, I still hear people, say, "I believe in the two-state solution," and it's just basically a way of changing the subject. Oh yeah, I believe in the two-state solution. Now, what else shall we talk about? Well, there is no two-state solution, because the settlements, the Jewish-only settlements all over the West Bank, mean that they're not going to give the West Bank back, which is fundamentally part of this so-called Palestinian state that will be in the two-state solution. Never intended it. Never intended. Just buying time. We'll have a roadmap, discussions about a roadmap, which will lead to discussions about a roadmap, and then just when we seem to be getting somewhere, because you can't keep talking about roadmaps forever, suddenly there's just by purely coincidence, there's a terrorist attack in Israel. And they say, Israel say, oh, no, we're not going to discuss it anymore, not after that. And it all starts again. And it's just buying time so that more and more of the occupied land can be Jewish only. And that's the point. Jewish only. It's apartheid. Oh, you can't say that. It's anti-Semitic. I just have. It's apartheid. Never mind, you can't say it. Think of it anywhere else. What about whites-only land in South Africa? Was that apartheid? Oh, yeah. But Jewish-only settlements and roads in Israel, or actually in illegally occupied Palestine, that's not apartheid. Why? Because it's anti-Semitic. Oh, do me a bloody favour. It's madness, and madness needs to be called out. It is hypocrisy, and it needs to be called out. Instead of slinking away, oh no, you better not say anything. They might say I'm anti-Semitic. I don't give a shite what they call me. I'm interested in the truth, the reality. Not the king's new clothes, the emperor's new clothes. The emperor's naked, mate. Look at his dingle-dangle. He's naked. Tell me he's wearing clothes? It's apartheid.